Yamoche ama wo akwaba aha ye Adom TV ene ye memenda wa wonim se memenda do say Nnawotwe dwumadie ye de ebro epreboso ne de toso enkono ye de dwumadie efree studios aha 355 Fanofa Street Elkokomlemle midin e the Chief Jerry Forson for the next 2 hours in someone Nnawotwe edi ahimu pa na ye gisa adofre mienu na fa ye de atenase na ye de atwetwe ho enkomo enti wo hwen Adom TV sa so te enka e wa sempa 94.7 FM. Meda se pa se me menda bia ogibre na obeka ye ho sa dwumadie eso for omo ewo social media no utimi ehwen ewo Facebook Adom TV on Facebook and also Asempa 94.7 FM and so ewo Facebook na fe wo de contributions so comment and na bisa wo de ato ho na fe ye de yagibre na fe yakenkan e de amaw so ye sha afia se covid bre yi mu ni ade nyina no yankofo frɛ no ahokyerɛ sɛ ɔman ni mu ayɛden niema enkoyie niema bo kwa na ekosoro eti na nipa ba kwa yɛhwɛ ni mu paase yɛbɛte ne nka the chairman of the economic management team in this case or the vice president his excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmood Bawumia for some time now na sɛ wayɛ din kakra na manfo eka na wɔmo eka da bɛ ne yɛbɛte ne nka na Nnawotwe yi mekyerɛ ya wada no opiem ewo test conference mu a wo ye no Pentecost Convention Center ewo gomu afete the state of Ghana's economy the ekotruja in fact for by over 3 hours no penini gina ne nanso a wo kasa ekire mu ya akokofa ahokyere ni nyina the aba anapay ye be hwe ensem odi tudwa no ebi but most importantly ye be gina kwan a wo kire say digitalization ana abefu kwan a ye fa so eye niema kwan a afa so aboa waman no esikasem eti otachi on a lot of things you be share video ni bi but a few of them manoti ewa ha addressing the issue of unique identity Ghana card no waka ho asem say as we speak nipa ba 15.9 million and a woman enya Ghana card no ebi emo so obo property address system and also so say yeka say properties by 7.5 million ewo Ghana ha de ni nyina no omatimi amomo address but yenko tie bi ba atwetwe nkomo.
Ghana's external payments position strengthened in the 2017 to 2021 period relative to the 2013 to 2016 years. For the first time in over 30 years, the trade balance, that is the difference between your exports and your imports, the trade balance recorded a surplus for 5 successive years, for the first time in over 30 years. We recorded surplus for 5 successive years. Trade balance was in deficit between 2013 and 2016, but moved from a deficit of 1.7 billion in 2016 to a surplus of 1.1 billion in 2017, a larger surplus of 1.8 billion in 2018, and an even larger surplus of 2.2 billion by 2019. The impact of COVID-19 has seen a reduction in the surplus to 2.04 billion in 2020 and a further reduction to 1.1 billion in 2021. Nevertheless, this is still a much stronger performance than the trade deficit of 1.7 billion recorded in 2016, which, ladies and gentlemen, the positive trade balances resulted in a narrowing of the current account deficit as a percentage of GDP between 2017 and 2019, but a subsequent widening of the deficit in 2020 and 2021 as a result of COVID-19. Even that, notwithstanding COVID-19, our current account position between 2017 and 2021 is much stronger than that between 2013 and 2016. Many questions have been asked about the state of the economy. These questions include: what has happened to the fundamentals? Why are the prices of goods and services increasing so fast? Why has the cedi depreciated so fast this year? Why has the fiscal deficit and the debt stock increased so much? What projects and programs does government have to show for the higher debt? Are the government flagship programs like free SHS the cause of our current economic challenges? How about the promise to move the economy from a focus on taxation to a focus on production? Where is the new economy that government promised to build? How has the government tackled corruption? What has the government done to relieve suffering of Ghanaians? And how is the government solving the current economic challenges?
Okay, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, and Yekoti in Semnibia or the Etuja. My ancient common one, Semesha see free phone, eso, na fi we are the studio. How Dr. Edu Owusu Sakode, economist, or no, when Yaho Jumedi Esuyanenwa, Yaneno, and share and common ase, na fi we are the Abadok, Otimenka, Yamache.
Mr. will be
But what's a pombo code?
Adom, I won't say.
Yegusun kakra, yeho eye. Majidisa woji break tie His Excellency the Vice President. As an economist, now expectations we take out, we tie anyway no, ebi ni dey na, en sha tin free hodok.
Mr. Osha say Ghana stick asem na economy no. Ejija kakra. Enti ono so na head of economic management team. Enti na Ghana fo nyina head ni so o ma make sure Edia na STA, na dia na all ya fa ho. Am says we are driver on the driver or man economy on the driver na your team and a car no to time them. Enti omo ya passengers e Ghanaians so be say na car no to time them. Enti wa church them nyoma ST dia na ma mante nyoma bo ekosoro 10 star e ya inflation no. Exchange rate so dia na ST anti man come fall star. And never be brave. But expectation now, I think that largely all my expectations were met because what me addressing the issues, what me raise the many questions that now what the minds of Ghanaians and I addressed them. But before sending speech, you could actually infer from the Minister of Finance. So the Minister of Finance also named Central Pushia.
Yeah.
Actually, the good crime to solve the issue. And a president in his State of the Nation address also my hint about a new DNSC ama the abine so area for her. And to show you know, which means that Omi and Sakasani a Kofa said there was consistency in all their speeches, the 3 speeches. And it will be some of my expectation that yes, economy Najija, a Noma Nkoye, a dear Nama Noma Nkoye. I am saying, Omutia, the Omuhian, say, Omu pocket, any Omuko Joma, Noma Buakosro, and one is here Ghana, Winina, poor Buakosro, poor Bonso Cosra, and my transport to Buakosro. I also tax in the Totro, and so I need Boba Cosro. Oh, call a Jomus Swat, the auto tomatoes say, on also offer a car, Yatum, and to us what in the tomatoes. And the Daniel Mano, and I'm Ghana for the donor, actually, the moon said, a banner match the mo, and Ghana for the DNS and T. Ama nyoma bo ekoso ntentem ene de oya fa ho enti largely no with me Emma Ghana 40 and I'm satisfied with nyoma okenya ene the causes any solutions also your short term solutions medium term solutions and a long term solutions ni na bo also mako with me de convince Ghana for enti expectation in there. Okay.
But listening to the Vice President,
economic management team.
Okay. Doc, sir, you Vice President, or make comparison be and especially on fundamentals. Ayade a ye bisa no ho asem pa. O che say Ghana current fundamentals no wa hoden che say gina na so kura chen compared to 2013 2016. One na ya adwene sa na hu no doc.
O question in say
Na me bisa say on the issue of fundamentals no omapani abedi akire say between 2013 2016 on beso amambu onimu no say na fundamentals no etie no. And even now, as we speak, with COVID, Ukraine, Russia war, Ghana economic fundamentals, in the period 2013 to 2016. What are you doing?
Okay, so the fundamentals of the economy is not too strong. That one, I should admit. There have been some progress, but the progress is not significant enough to turn things around. But also Mampanyika Sanana or the Esusu said the na Omano economy necessity before and after COVID. And how is the now all person fair? Now GDP growth rate economy. Inflation was in single digit. Interest rate was in the 20s. I think around 21 or 22%. Osha and Yama Brina Kanana economy. And Yama Mienu Anana Ajeno before COVID. Yama Mienu. A year the fiscal position. A year Ghana Yakano plus because also budget deficit and no one about Bustian and no one a public debt.
Yeah.
Contributed to the public debt. Unemployment. We almost say one factory no year Juma but and also he handled donor to the Bayer amount for the donor being and Juma. And the fundamentals need be there, not a year, the donor na year, but you know be not enquiry no, and they're not enquiry before COVID. Now public debt especially no. Now in the not a cannot anymore. And your mammy and son and a public debt before COVID, your mammy and son and a cannot acquire anymore. The kind of budget deficit. I know you should say about 48% of the public debt, is accounted for by the budget deficit. Just where expenditure more than your revenue, and our home posting, and on the budget deficit, it's accounted for 48% of the public debt. Yet also, see the depreciation, exchange rate, and also accounted for almost 1/3, that is 28%, almost 1/3 of the public debt. See the now holding accounted for almost 1/3 of the public debt. And yet, Busnia, and yes, Sika will be aqua. The onset Ghana Bustiana, a fund every year in dollars. And this exchange rate in Guinea. So, for example, the whole Bustia $1,000 there. Exchange rate near 5,000 cities. But the exchange rate no cost 6 there. The same $1,000 maybe make a home, but in city terms, I couldn't name by 1,000.
Yeah.
So I moving from 5,000 to 6,000. And the exchange rate also contribute to about 1/3 of the public debt, which is huge, and it's a bad thing. It's a bad situation for the country. There's also what you call the off-budget borrowing. Minister of Finance, some are all kind of budgets not in shame, but I feel because we are not the financial sector cleanup exercise. And I dare also the energy debt IPP now all can one seven.
Yeah.
And to start your way and a canoe before I said COVID the bandia. Not Ghana cannot call anymore. In fact, who share debt service? I didn't hear fire said the car de coachia, Bustiano, and amortization, and even debt service. Who share Tama Hepic and transmitted Hepic, COVID everybody. Now, and between 40 and 50%. Interest payments in inquiry, who's the one inquiry, all the total, the revenue, 33% in the year 2018. Now, we share about 108 countries a year, I should Muna. Now, Ghana, yeah, dear chair, among you, out of 108 countries, now Ghana, yeah, dear chair, among you, Sri Lanka, and Lebanon. Am I asking no, yeah, dear chair in Ghana? And to start, the fiscal position of the country was bad before the COVID. But the other indicators like exchange rate, interest rate, GDP growth, etc., now they were better, then they were in a good shape, and some are COVID, better. Again, fiscal position, a year bad. It's Ghana is still a pen or your it's a pa into the piano, it's a bano Kobostia. And until I can say budget deficit, no, accounting for about 48% of the public debt. And to kind of and yet a problem. I think NDC was a problem.
Okay.
And a Ghana problem, sir. The kind of not a shot. And the fundamentals in my conclusion remarks on this now. The fundamentals of the economy have not been that strong.
Okay, Doc, and I just say we cannot entirely blame COVID, you know, for where we are now. We cannot, because any working now even before COVID. And the blame say COVID, and saying Ukraine Russia war, can't we? It cannot be entirely true. That's that.
Yes, COVID no one who should and America said indicators the doors. GDP growth was better. Inflation was better. Interest rate was better. Primary balance surplus was okay. Current account surplus was okay. And then when you know employment and the fiscal position, public debt and debt service, and then anti-COVID na best say ye and COVID na best say now Mobia underestimate the effect of COVID. Nobody underestimate the effect of COVID. Over time Ghana the first time you lock it down, Greater Accra, Greater Kumasi, and Kaswa. And these three cities account for more than 80% of our GDP. More than 80% of the GDP. We lock it down Greater Accra, lock it down Kumasi, and Kaswa for 3 weeks. And remember, sir, Ghana's economy is largely informal. And informal also here interpersonal relations. And so Mobi MP, Mobi Anko School, Mobi Anko sorry, Mobi Anye, Mobi Anko can say beach. In Sunday morning, so no edisika every amount for until lock it down sana and the Ahochere and Ebeba. And the president was bold to take that decision because he wanted to save the lives of people. And even if it came at the cost of the economy. And I agree with him because my issue about how I might be responding to COVID. No? Ghana and Ivory Coast, it will be memorable. I talked to my idea on how they responded to the COVID situation. And so the president was prepared to sacrifice the economy for the lives of people. And it was a brilliant, policy response. And then, it was a good kind of policy response. But the price we are paying now is the dire situation of the economy. And see, I'm not saying that the government was wrong. The government was right to do that.
Okay.
But of course, maybe I be a home to my home research. I'm saying I'm paying. I bet the Jacobacasano. Now, the fiscal impact of COVID. A year to Castana, a bino, its impact being a COVID no maya. Meaning 20%. I use only the year 2020. I got 20% of GDP. The fiscal impact of the economy, per my calculation in the year 2020 alone, amounted to 20% of GDP. Was it for 2 years, 2020 and 2021, he got 17%. And so you should know that 17 was close to 20% because he used 2 years and I used 1 year because I'm an American researcher. That 2021 figures in mind. And to let nobody underestimate the effect of COVID. The point I'm making is that economy no efa bi gina yie na efa bi nyina yie ana COVID no abestai ni mienu nyina na there was a need for the government to go ahead of the virus and implement all those policies even if it came at the cost of the economy, and I agree with them. I don't think I just say that, but I'm sure sir things will rise and it be especially with the short-term measures what they can go akwamu.
Doc, from where you sit, blames abino anya COVID na Ukraine senior one so we shouldn't underestimate the effect of COVID, but no blame has been taken by the government. So okay, yes, also on our part there were a few steps I take here some way somehow a mismanaging economy no blame na kwaya COVID in Russia Ukraine war in kwa. Can't the government take any blame from where you sit, Dr. Zakode?
Should the government take the blame?
Yeah, no. Yes.
DJ, question is,
the government has blamed everything else, COVID, Ukraine, but for itself, say, me as a bino, me to an amamba kumienubia, and also so ambwa or mining sikasem. Is it not surprising and quite worrying? It's a borrowing, it's a business, your boy say. Doc.
It should be anybody can say, and you may be a not a year before COVID. And that one, you cannot blame it on COVID and you cannot blame it on the Ukraine war. The public debt, you know, any debt service burden, and not a year. So you cannot blame that one on COVID. And employment, and so you man amount for pay or members, not a year, sir, because employment figure now you release and it was around 13%. And see, what you mean blame on COVID? And not COVID mind, so you can't blame that on COVID. And see, I think it should be a shared responsibility.
Okay.
Before COVID, you know, almost we manage some part of the economy new year. In fact, a greater part of the economy. And COVID never said the year and they're not in the year now, saying and yes, you blame COVID for the effect. But before COVID, you know, and no man in the year, and yet you cannot blame COVID for that.
Okay.
And so I think the government position should be that they should admit that and number 1, 2 be not a year before COVID. And number 2, 3, 4 be they're not a year before COVID. Now government not a good to our main year. And I'm about to watch now.
Yeah.
And it should be a shared responsibility. They can't push everything on COVID. They can't. They cannot push everything on COVID.
All right.
But a greater part of it, yeah. But the money, the money, sometimes it's a balance as in said. Time COVID and so we almost in your go almost 100 billion about Tampa care program.
Yeah.
Time almost in your go say okay, COVID now best economy crash. After COVID in a year recover. And then a boom, Ukraine war is so best and sometimes I pity I have some sympathy for the government because it's so painful. That if you are West dying, and then not a chair and then from a buagu. And I said, okay, me say CBU. Who says it then? Oh, none of them from us have a boo and swagoo. And see, where they are, Obin Tiasa, because of how we live, when you say, oh, yes, and see, say, but communication should be clear. They should tell Ghanaians that. Na omo ye bibi ana Ukraine war no so aba na Ukraine war no so no we are seeing now TJ and yes Ukraine war no the effect is on Russia no any Ukraine kwa we are seeing now whoever trades with the two countries is affected so and not na price first example crude oil price buying budget this year budget is $62 per barrel Menoka says over $100 per barrel and no the Russia-Ukraine war. And so that part of increment in food no dear. And yeah, by no, you're paying to fast one mono. Yeah, the book, kind of say it will be from the effect of the Russia-Ukraine war. And yes, fertilizer, as we are for Inyano. If you buy a to Buana, there be a war no. A iron war, amount for. And the materials, home materials, metals, amount for this iron sheet, iron rust near dinner, Umunya ne wide and then, and I are buying there be the best war, no, because a war on a this effect, a price of wheat, bread, any flour, the thing now war cost right, and ya banana bona cost a war, no. But the beer, you bet me blame, a buying a barring, I bet you blame Ghana, buy a bar, could now, you say, yeah, into me, I need domestic production. As a substitute for those imports. And you two oil or Ghana, I mean, you sure say fertilizer, you need petrochemical products anymore. I don't think you two oil or Ghana, and you need to be fair, I kind of say, I see a kind of any fertilizer. Okay, so our reliance, our over reliance, and our dependence on imports, and on a high, and yet a buying a problem. A problem, since 1911, God's best time. Since 1911. And so we must industrialize and resolve all those issues. And just that you become the same problem. Now you resolve it.
Okay, Doc, my son bisa we at the Makuma Sopa. And quasi da bang. And I say one mind, you I rely on a mind binom near my boss. In fact, not me monitor international media. Countries like Germany and USA, almost require internally, I self-reliant. I mean, some natural gas, oil, crude oil, steel, we are a sovereign nation. Since 1911, you was saying you now. For how long can we keep depending on Russia, Ukraine? Bibi kakra ko eka omope na kayen. Doc.
See ye long-term solution na ebema yenye adwuma wo manmu. Ama yesi no end depreciate. Ama yetimi nya revenue wo manmu is to industrialize. That is the only way out. That is why President Nkrumah saw the need to industrialize when he took over power. Because she realized that that was the only way out for us to industrialize. Now see go to that bay. Because abaya nyina we ba no be scratching the surface of the problem no occur. Now we so about no scratching the surface of the problem on yin no occur. And I don't blame the politicians so much. I don't blame them too much because yes, political system no democracy na dia ma wo mu no. 4 years. Industrialization so you need about 25 to 30 years before you can have effective industrialization. You need decades to transform your economy. And yet 4 years at them. Now, what am I about the 4 years? No? On first year, or the transition, or they appointing the ministers, and then in Yoma. First, second, and third year, no one of the beer. Last year, no another election. Now, politicians be also on the next election. They all think about the next election. You see, I mean, people are talking about breaking the 8. You know, 2024, but they are talking about breaking the 8 because every politician, NDC, MPP, DPP, they are thinking about the next election. And see, your democracy, your political systems have 4 year cycle. And what? Until way back, no, I basically factory back up. None 4 years now, so Ghana for 20 no occur. Now we so bad no basically back no occur. Back you know there. I say your market time no there. Buakra. The here industrialization drive boom. Be a 10-year period, 15 years, 20 years. Now you see factory about fertilizer, you see factory about my wheat, you see factory about my rice. You see, factory my say even a broker area more cry a bro maize and a corn cry a crack. You know, and the amount your manager and I was saying me and the break near your industrialization drive. No, that is why I was so happy about the 1 district 1 factory. In fact, in 2016, when I read the manifesto of MPP, I was very happy about the 1 district 1 factory. But I say I mean no say there are about 216 districts and Amebwa.
Yes.
Factory said no mercy. I'm sorry, it's around 100. A mood in a functional. And also Mututumrika. Problem is so. Or my be bad is or sell Mututumrika. Then can make Palmum their message is there. And Kayan 8 years because already no crowd. Your Trabama will be a you say about me so 8 years. And China, yes, say, or Mansi Casako, the elections 4 years. When we know that the person will by all means stay in power for 8 years.
Doc, finally, your famra digitalization, no, as in fact, Ojina hot chair pa. Na mamin family no na me that's what for instance, mobile money interoperability, amampanya be the church say as at 2016, na sika revenue free mobile money, mu somewhere around 78.5 billion. 2021, you recorded 978.3 billion. That's a revenue in free with the introduction of the mobile money interoperability. And then Passport Office 2017, Passport Office processed 16,232 applications. Revenue minus a 1.1 million. Abayi baye digitize for clients so near the 498,963 online applications and a Passport Office for one year. Revenue no 556.7 million Ghana cedis. Now, have we been able to manage these revenues properly? And even is it even justifiable? Doc,
yes, digitization space, the whole economy is going digital. And it's a open revenue. It's the digital space, the whole revenue. And into that e-levy, I've written a whole article on it to support the e-levy. Because because the whole economy, everybody is going digital. It's all fiscal, you go digital, or passport office, and all economy be a digital, a DVL, be a digital, always time. Now I Oko hospital and be a computer near and a port to her. I'm telling my penny so I there with this digitization drive. We can't run away from it. That is the new order. the new world order is the digitization, so we can't run away from it. But you've raised a good point. Says the revenue, no, I couldn't know the other day. Sikana Bobo so there. It's a drop in the ocean, and also, I mean, 1.1 billion there. Open beer 70 and 900 billion now we are 1.5, and also, but at least you make me try a kaka. Now, Emma, yentimi independent on borrowing that biara. And so the critical point now is to make sure that digitization is linked to revenue generation. Also, loopholes ne why na yaka de biara. So because we be kwaji physical cash as you obedi. The so obedi timi kuku bag kese na okọ makola market to kwaji tools obedi. But a digital be a short code be *14 whatever hash. Na wo di atua wa ya. Make sure that obi kind of corruption in that area, no? And yeah, so we should be able to raise the needed revenue from the digital space and manage it well.
Okay.
See, I manage it, especially with the e-levy, a buy project to Obenya about 6 billion. No? There should be something to show for it. We should be prudent in the management. So they almost have brepa and some more passing. So man show, man find a development project be. I'm a Ghana for who said when you're there. Omba Ghana for him and next time so got some budget to be. I mean, sure Ghana for be few. And the prudent management of the finance. May sure say we there any idea. The crowd mechanics a buy now munim bro mo bray and some mutima convince the Ghanaians about the passage of the e-levy. And to wait there, over to you, I'm sure that they have learned their lessons. And going forward, all governments, MPP, and whoever wins the next election or whoever is in power will be so prudent. And I thank the media. I like the way the civil society organization and the media are always interrogating things and putting the government on its toes. May you sure that with time, as time goes on,
okay,
we can get the best from our revenue.
All right. Doc, my name is Nnawotwe Fancy High. As always, we are grateful. Yeah, that's a power. Dr. Edu Owususa akode ene no atwetwe nkomo no oyo pani bakwa wa bin sekase mu pa na wono so de adwenche de aba stay with us on Facebook, Adom TV on Facebook, na fe Asempa 94.7 FM. Asempa 94.7 FM and so Facebook. Me introduce you mpanifo ene many womo eba bedi juma on my far left, director in charge of IT for the NDC. Me ame ofa nimpompa ofa Ose Kwame Griffith ona Oshe Fuga, yeah, owaha I'm saying Chebia na ba, right? Nnawotwe Yi ni, yeah, but because of enakoye digitalization into na ne asan so atwewa ya de waba akwaba ya dase and afi near otim finfin the member of parliament for Botiano English amam from Honorable Sylvester Tete Sly bia boko there. Honorable Sylvester Tete ye ka say nsuo afa no Bibia boko there Sly
Nyamia do media.
My NG first comment, but what would the end there? Because of everyone you see constituency, I would want to touch, want you to touch a bit on that. Nafi, or say Kwame so the crash also nafi a train home by a bar. Nafi, I bet you chunkomo. Honorable.
Yo, me da say, my main chair, ashefo ni etifo nyina anope. Me nua penny.
Process of affixing address plates.
So. Person bo propaganda no pay.
Agree.
Ohwe niama wa church ya. Doctor kasa na fi ODB kwase. ODB kwase. Nti ebewie no na nyina ejuri.
Agree en chat ye kra.
Ejuri egu, na abrante IT ni de oya de white mu anke na economy de no pay mwa because maybe I feedback no how true. Na me chia me manfo manya wo moni madom se mesom wo mo se wo mo mrahye bidwani anopai dodo na woni ho aka e wo nsuo kase a etoye in fact enra wo hwede e course enra menim say it's expected because ye hono the topology of the place anytime nsuo beto na ede so boni aba yakoso ekai bebia akwanye dodo na nra they were cut off want to me access your homes a very difficult situation for me nra made the pictures be a church and phobia. Na commitment ahodo aba. Indeed, we share a Juma MPP abaya here in terms of road infrastructure in our constituency. No, ubetumi endi usesi ubuse yaboye homebody. But even that is a tip of the iceberg. We share baby ifi eba. Nidi enye ne ya akobeka say you be tempted so obebo omampenya baso. Rightly so obebo na baso. Nemo we need more. A whole area access roads no anyhow. And the biggest problem today is the Accra Takoradi Highway. It is not under the management of the Municipal Assembly. It is really under the management of Ghana Highway Authority. Enti Oshe Atala, maybe a friend Atala, old Adom FM, Omahine.
Last year we were there.
Yes, Omobaye program.
Adom TV.
Adom TV.
Yeah.
Yadima contractor say onyesa ejumano. Or started ejumano. You started by changing the service lines because only a main road into all the service lines, no, insure, telephone, electricity, any number. Replace service lines. Now I was a contractor, no. Of course, ye juman sana. Rains here, ye experience answer ebeba. One to me and ye.
I didn't want to me.
Most of the juma ye wahano ye pre-finance and son our raise certificate. Na yatumi aye jumano. And now me ne say Ochina Monday echo. I want to do a follow-up. The extent of work I year certificate I will raise it when you first wa to me continue a jumano. Because the expectation was that yenye say juma we in a dry season and sana is you no better. It is you no better no nanka and kofa problem bia amba. 1 year, we kwan enye we call Ajasco all the way to Red Top and Ra. With the pictures show we see film. Now I've had calls from Penninfo who really matters. The idea ma follow up because for immediate term, ma tumia pushy about 25 kilometers of roads. Yeah, and no chance that is the entire road network in the constituency. But that 25 kilometers of roads, no, ebema timamufo ehombe hen wo mukakra. So, Mima Obibia and Wakambiano, I sympathize with them. Now, they know me as their MP. I haven't slept 1 year, 3 months in office. I be pushy for the road network. But I mean, say the road minister has given me. But I'm going to push the road minister to personally visit the area. Because a special intervention. That constituency. It is the second biggest municipality in the whole of Greater Accra and the 5th in the country. South. It is the second biggest municipality in Greater Accra and the 5th in the entire country. So it tells you we're well over 400,000 residents in that municipality. Constituency has over 111,000 registered voters. So it tells you the population in there. It's a special intervention. I mean, you say the road minister. I mean, number of MPs in Parliament are more visit here. And the Hong Kong members of Parliament are more from both majority and minority are multi constituency. They are well over 18, including ministers and deputy ministers are also constituency. So everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I think, sir, my boy is second in the Japan Basso. My boy is Miami sister, Cynthia Mamle Morrison. And consistently they've joined forces with me to push the road minister for a special intervention road project in that constituency. I met that Adom FM, so I say, you've consistently been with me. Now, I'm a producer, Dominic. And Dominic Frame is honorable. Dominic is here. He lives in the constituency. Yeah. It's a terrible situation. I'm not
honorable about two spots.
Yes.
That spot between Block Factory and SCC.
Yes.
Between Atala Honoma ADB Bank no
that's right.
I have been there.
Yeah.
In Shona a free Atala stretch ho. A chem ebesin caught down Honomi rank of 40. I don't know. And then other spots you see in Shona no baby Asamoah
old barrier.
Good old
thankfully me Casas is here. Asamoah stretch of the road has been fixed. You do a tripa. Resident no bet me the one dance contractor in wie I feel na all year surfacing no in general I say insurance to no be the pictures na me say thankfully on wie adwuma no oguso a all year
okay
why base no na the why drains bibia ye base also continue we. So me just say how dear we don't have a problem. Be what problem pa tobut. We do tobus pass and we do tobut and then you see a fiscal ho nyina and the problem is money the for road construction by CP, I was told some 20 years ago. Now it is not for nothing and year of vegetation. I was a cover people. And now we say the people has been mined and some illegal miners.
Honorable video I actually see here Atala Honomo.
Yes, Atala Honomo. I remember this was the last year picture, sir.
No, yes,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Last year it was the same. So as in fact, hydro department contractor my expectation was that do time this job has been completed. That is the biggest problem. And now call a resident. I was going to go on a tour, but I decided as a member program way, I will have the opportunity to speak more to it. Yamin Chadie, in Penifua who do maybe to platform. I had calls from senior members of government. I believe, say, very soon, maybe Monday or Tuesday, the road minister will be visiting the constituency. And I'll be pleading with my brother, Asensu Boachi, to equally pay a working visit to the place. Because these drain projects are under the hydro department of the Ministry of Works and Housing. Amijidi said, Onosu can make an intervention. Yesterday, he personally acknowledged these things with whom were a platform. So idea me because we share resident. Meaning say we cost for resident be our hobby to ni saluka. Terrible.
Honorable, say a dime business to make way.
Of course,
because the volumes of water. Anyway, but me ma kwai na so kakaka na fi.
Anytime there's a disaster, as a nation, we should be able to put politics aside and, look at the problem and, without political lens and what have you, more or less recommend solutions and sympathize with or more.
Yeah.
Or more, and come one way or the other. And I think, I will strongly urge the government abandoning crime, say. And say a normal wire day, I'm a road contractors of Marketiano, Bebrea Ketri. But where there's a special problem, say, and abandoning channeling share, no man special attention.
And many
now,
because already rainy season I don't know what can be done around this time.
And no so nan channel. Ofre rainy season na yenya kra enhyase ye papa na obi kan o se yetete abete no na ne cha won se ekukro mponi ne ye be de ye be so se yetena ho na aginsem na bia nipa bi ahwere won kwa aya na emwo man no enti animanim ha we de adesre se aban panifo entwe wani hwe ho na enye ho nko aso so ba bia what similar problems no I'm not really sure where else na ho nyina no nka ye map up all those areas no na intentem ya ye mfa enoma ngwa kwam na ye save situation ma ho.
Okay, all right, eti ma yamfa no enkonko ho ansa na fe yintwe ho ma ye ba na Nnawotwe Yi ye beto aso me na ma bedwafo ye wa ha. There's a huge conversation coming up. Stay with us. Ye ba sisi ya. Eguso ayede ebre o ma ba Facebook comment e wa ha no ye beje bre na fa kenkan e de amount but yen share enkomo no ase me sha say free Rosa Kwame me sha say free ho briefly let's say Dr. Edo Ususa Akode on the general outlook of the economy answer ne be back digitalization no okay my enti man pania be de akire nia okafa digitalization no ho na fi yewi a ya me hye nkomo no ase ye ntie we mra okay em say enye crowd a enti ba member ho na fi ye hye ase
okay em say my initial comments some meka fa omampanyin abede chire nsimo de to dwa no de di kan no medical ka say o man ahokyere wo papa minua krofo bre as a kyerɛ ne sɛ ebi kura mpo no a enne wobɛkɔ akɔdi bibia no atɔ no bi ade a wota yusu wobɛkɔ dasene wobɛkɔ no ni atum yatum so a yatum hwɛ hwi bentum inketuam obi afaka lɔrefe ɛyɛ ni atum ti ama ɔman no mu ayɛ din papa na ɛnu ntino na ɔman ni nyinaa ɛnam sɛ ɔmanpanyin abɛde kyerɛ yɛ the chairman of the economic management team na ɔno amu so no ɔde no ho abɔ no ho safo hene sɛ ɔno na ba economy a Ghana ha ɔno na nimdeɛ ne nyina kura no yankrofo hwɛ ni mu pa sɛ kom betie bibi a ɛkyerɛ kwan a ɔman yi yɛbɛtumi ayi ehu afiri saa do man. In fact, lecture ne kasa metie no no kasa na koyɛ sɛ asɛ akwala ne ba yɛ bɔne na wonhu sɛ wɔ kan so no pɛso wɔ kan so wonhu kan yɛ so ɔhunu mekyɛ no. I think he was quite generous to the government. So a lot of the comments will make here. I want to be honest with you. That is my perception. Because the temperature in the country in terms of how people are suffering. So let me use that temperature in terms of how people are really feeling the heat, you know. And yes, it was portrayed by him. And the expectation was that he was going to more or less give some comfort to Ghanaians. So, okay, wana kurastie mu a wo chinchim nyoma na okura no wa asema waka no eto asomu aye. First of all, my first problem with what he did, his presentation was his venue, choice of platform. It was totally wrong. It was totally unacceptable. First of all, say the mood of the country now. Country the mood a woman. You don't pick a political event. I was in school kwala guwa, kwala totofiwa, womono ade omodwene ho your allowance. Any woman student loan, and a woman problem, we are say. Woman yan rubabia, woman shed that bob rebia, woya konhumani adia. He's not engaged in any friend said trade or anything. What we say Ophelia, you know. So you call this Association of Ghana Industries, Association of Bankers, some journalists and civil society organizations, even students, the leadership of the students, which is perceived to be some neutral, perceived to have some neutrality in terms of political, you know, and no crying better. So on the and no crying shows the sort of judgments that whoever put this program together, you know, they have. Na adia make bekadia tufo kakrani se. To me die kurawa. Ghana ha wu free wusa wu. As a chance Ghana obi aya no abo oh aya de oh de one alcohol. So on meche no. But that you know and the way it was delivered, you know, has rather annoyed people. Take it or leave it is an advice. Number two, yeah, political discourse. Nkoma amanfo since November of 2021, ABC Samri has been dominated by e-levy. Even the controversies surrounding the so-called passage, whether it has actually been legally passed, is another matter. Yet, 129-page speech had nothing on the e-levy. The issue is that the government itself, of which chairman of the economic management team no, has portrayed e-levy as najenkwa. Chese say no de ama Ghana hanum ahwe ansuo kura yenya bi num kina. That is the perception people have had. It was important senka obe address e-levy.
Ufo say aye boapayo ana so bia well e-levy ne bi kura ebi nu kura say onfoa so enu tina wan ka ho asem no.
Na wonfoa so wo a we chairman of the economic management team. Na wonfoa bibi so na say aye government policy. Then what kind of government are we talking about? Na ban be no. Abaya wo chairman of that office bibi esi wo excuse me to say bibi esi wo NDC mu no me for so na say general mosquito na say chemofoso for. But once it is taken, say this is the position of the government. You have to address it. That is important. Especially because a lot of societies, telcos, have raised issues of the impact on your digitalization drive. So you needed to address it for both those who are in favor and those who are opposed. Number 3, and this will be my last comment on it before I delve into the economic issues. I think the speech was too heavy on digitalization. I think, I think it was because the expectation is that Quebec can be about the economy. Especially because just about 3 or 4 months ago, he had a whole lecture of over 90 pages on digitalization. Most of which were just a repetition of what he said. Professor. These are my comments on, general comments on the speech.
Okay.
Now let's look at issues. Say, what are the economy of the country?
Fellow scratching notes.
Maybe I fell scratching.
Professor Fellow scratching.
One lecturer.
And this lecturer.
Okay, will be. And you know, your friends say, you know, post to come home. Some Indian visitors to come.
Or show notes him. Or
may I know my credits?
Fellow scratching is the professor. The visiting professor.
Right.
First of all,
yeah.
For the first time in the history of this country, our debt has reached 400 billion Ghana cedis. The highest so far. Ronaldo say he uses the word unprecedented. This is unprecedented. I drew 400 billion Ghana cedis. The issue of depreciation of the cedi alone in the past 2 or so months has added 30 billion cedis to the debt. Our debt to GDP ratio is 85%. ABC that. Just say a car ya bodinano. What the toto Ohedo hanchichemu. What the toto Ghana afimu sika enya enyina na eyo ha enchichemu ediwotwe enum ejese ka edunum pe nanka ye ka sika enya enyina no ene ye ka ye de ayepe ebin sees hasada. In fact, before we left office na 56%. Ye free office 2016 na eye oha enchichemu edunum ensia. Budget deficit, the biggest budget deficit recorded, is 15.7%. Last year, 12.1%. 2016, 6.1%. Yesidi currency. Na currency did unyaya na almost you COVID in Russia, COVID in Russia, maybe COVID in Russia, and I will address those. Let me place on record. I mean, can I pass on? Then concrete terms also. Say it. Am I sikan? The attitude upon some cry sitting. In fact, so share BBC, on TV ni radio, presenter bako. Anyone man penny na to dan kwa kufuado. Eshia, English abrochire.
Yes.
What to na num nsem no. O kan say sidi no. Atetiam pansam adia currency a chain wo wias atetiam pansam a chain sidi no e wo wiase the Russian ruble. I disagree with him. Because he hasn't taken time to check the performance of the Russian ruble. Russian ruble, no, as at the worst a year was March 7th, it had lost 40% since the war started. War started 24th of February.
Okay.
Now what
But on the performance of the city, in 2013, I remember the city was, I mean, we hit the rock bottom. Bloomberg had a report by 2013 on the city. I mean, saying our city is the worst performing currency. How would you respond to that?
Well,
I'm
glad you are saying 2013. Yes. Yeah, 2016, we took steps to. We accepted, said there was a problem. You see, the problem with Aban when he said, well, no. If he said, problem behind you. Yes, what time area now? What they are Russia war. War is to start in 6 weeks. You be crash or cram fertilizer or Russia and can be 3 to 6 months and sign a Ghana. And so fertilizer born in 1 year. I say we're Ghana hanging now. They are Russia. Sabi a bro. Your friend say a bride fertilizer be do and next year you be show. And so a bro boy they are fertilizer. So make Russia for war.
No, but
the problem
the economist was very emphatic. We shouldn't downplay the effect of COVID and the Russia-Ukraine.
Na say COVID ni yankwa na COVID ni nyaye. COVID ni yankwa ni nyaye. Cote d'Ivoire. A friend say lecture na kasa say government prioritize lives. In Cote d'Ivoire, if you look at the COVID, let me a friend say COVID Cote d'Ivoire had a friend say better death a friend say rate than us. It was lower than dear. Your friend saying, in fact, the death rate of, in fact, Togo, and no my in neighboring countries, Togo cried almost at Tianco for rent. They paid people's rent. So, on the Sierra Leone and Liberia together, almost death rate, together, still less than Ghana. And when we say the cedi is depreciating, yen first currency back open to na hone yesusu say ye to other currencies and when we say it is the worst performing just atete apan some currencies na kadi nyina o say COVID na COVID one more ye dey compare ya kire say wo dey na atete apan some che wo mo dey COVID ni ho. They also did the same thing. They went on a lockdown.
Okay, me nimbe bia wadu sesi but em say mamo akasa nti say obetimi e dey esi bia amamia nanka maba slide so ho we are nanka
the city, as we are saying, says the inflation is almost 16%. And that is a problem in this country. Mobile, musi hey. Yeah, baba, your friend say single digit one year they are doing no say baumia. From taxation to production. Obaya wa introduce 23 new taxes. So on meche. Enti Dr. Baumia de.
Okay.
Ninsem no and I will go deeper at my next opportunity no. And some are working nyina no bebre wo hono mo a utimi se adanko dada do. Mfuturo bi. In fact, I predicted say about Dr. Baumia mfuturo no beto go Ghana for.
Okay, but that's a first home mame. Now Facebook Fine Boy J to say the economy is very hard. Something must be done. From Peter or Shayan from Takwa or say Anna Mac Yao Preko Also, we, the upcoming generation in Ghana, have already decided on who to succeed His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2024 general election and becoming our president in 2025. That's Dr. Owusu Efriyi Akoto. He has our generation at heart. Mark Yao Preko and Odeno about Facebook. Stay with us on Facebook for comment in the photo a bedroom na I can kind at the amount. Slide.
Minya. Now, when your opportunity hit hard, we see I'll hit hard at my next opportunity. Lectures not yet complete yet. But you see, I'm happy, and I thought the economic lecturer, Dr.
Owusu Sarkodie.
It's unfortunate to have said he was being charitable with the government. He was blunt. Now, in some more kika yenyi na no minya. Yeah, politics are. Do baby. Umanye politics are. Enko chichiri yakon tomorrow. Ne politics are. Ebe boa omaino. You discussing issues no as it is. First of all, I see the venue was wrong. Nah, Dr. Bamian made it clear he was speaking to the good people of this country. Majidi said, if the venue had a problem, and you wouldn't have downloaded the 129 pages. You had access to it. One of whom hapa, maybe a Dr. Bamian Kasai, one opportunity to listen to him. So it's immaterial. Bibi Kasai, I don't want Ghana for. Test confirm Ghana.
But maybe a few say you know, the ambience.
It did not distort the message. Has it distorted the message? 129 or so. He has the 129 on his page. Has the venue distorted the message? He hasn't distorted it. It should deal with the message, not the venue. In any case, also the any Yasin Shekra say when they were the worst currency and at the NDC 2013, they acknowledged there was a problem. But Bawumia is running away from the fact that Ghana was a problem. If you had read the 129 page, let me give you a quote, paragraph 4, what Dr. Bawumia said, and go back. We'll let you know one can one. Or see, I acknowledge that we are going through challenging times. We are going through challenging times, and this is the reality irrespective of the cause. And the Nipana Kasa, what better distorting? So, no, dear, or you're insensitive to the extent say, one to me acknowledges a Ghana go through problems. What kind of situation is this? 129. You told me, say, 129 page lecture. Awanya adjunct professors are, or my church ramau. Is part of what the man said. You're distorting it. Number 2, the President's State of the Nation address in Parliament. Or see, from a vintage point of a husband, a grandfather, a president, I reckon that the times are difficult. And also, one thing. So, you're in this, you wouldn't listen. But in staying on the economy, Dr. Sarkodie Akanina, but let me emphasize on the reporter, Dr. Bamian Diamaye. Before COVID, baby an economy in the world. And one significant discussion was very challenging. A physical deficit as a country.
Yeah.
Now in PMP, say elections be bar, and now also politicians hurriedly no more ye project on budgeted expenses na that na ye fiscal deficit. We've thrown it out of gear. NDC from 2013 to 2016. Now your budget deficit is 7%. If the children so COVID, any Russia-Ukraine war, the buy. So if you want to downplay it, now 7%. NPP buy between 2017 to 2019, we realized it was becoming problematic. So we need to work to bring it down. We brought it to 4.5%. Any passing law in 2018 by Parliament said a year or share say a or Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Yeah.
You stay within 5% maximum. You can't go beyond it.
But as we speak, that act.
Yes, it tells you the COVID effect. And the COVID buy, you call Parliament, now Nnawotwe did not sit in the comfort of his home, including the members of parliament and DC. G2 mu say situation a woman no a bro so we should break that law, set it aside. And then from 15%, we are coming back to about 11%. And Nnawotwe had made a firm promise, you better back to where we were before. That is why the president made a statement, say, you be fast you the economy, no, you be jinani naso. Na kwanya, you be money pound kwandye, you That is a profound statement. I was saying, DHD, so, look, idea Emma Eka Amni Yempa, and what Dr. Baumyaka was the next 3 days. The banking sector cleanup. Minya, you walk on my 4.6 million depositors, Sika. Not the whole banking sector. No, it was on the verge of collapse. And then Crawford Court was on the verge of collapse. I must supervise it. Say, I'm fast as the canon Shema. Now, if you pay or take annual payment of $1 billion. And then the COVID expenditure. Okay, can say is 50.1 billion. And once you want it's about 23% of our interest payment of 37%, 37 billion a year. And no blame me by. The worst was your ineptitude and the decision you want taking, pay or take. I'm saying you have 1 billion. Look at the whole. One supervising banking sector. 3 line items.
On the banking sector, how much did it cost us? Let's see. I think.
I'll get you the figures.
Yeah.
It's here.
Let's get the figures so that we can.
The figures are here.
Have a discussion around.
We share the banking sector, financial sector cleanup. 25 billion.
25 billion.
25 billion. Excess capacity charge. 17 billion. And now we share COVID 8.1. Into can 50.1 billion. These are serious gaps. Look, before COVID, all the fundamentals were correct. Interest rate, inflation rate, your friend is saying, your GDP growth. None were stable. We had challenge with the expenditure, fiscal deficit. They're taking steps into the doctor can say, I disagree.
But before COVID, you were borrowing.
We were borrowing.
Yeah.
But even in the face of the borrowing, we share your debt management and need payment. One of the biggest challenge, and it was the banking sector cleanup.
Yeah.
And then your friend is saying the pay or take issue. We said it to everybody. And no, yeah, Juma from 7% to 4.5. And I this ceiling at to 5%. There's a COVID and we are within the bracket. It was the COVID. And nobody can run away from the COVID expenditure. Nobody all over the world. And we have shown economies all over the world before COVID how they were doing and how COVID has affected them. In terms of inflation, we call UK, we call America, we call before COVID, global inflation index. In the US, now inflation is 1.81 in the US. COVID by and there were more inflationary rate 7.9%. US of all nations, America. We call UK. Now more inflation, the rate at which are prices of goods and services a cost now 1.79. And then Aqua could do 6.2. We call Nigeria. Now inflation 11.4 in 2019, and then Aqua could do 15.7. Cote d'Ivoire. Now 0.8, and then Aqua could do 4.6. And then Ghana, we were 7.9, and then Aqua could do 15.7. So amount trend say any peculiar to our jurisdiction.
Okay, but Obi Subeka said COVID declare so Ghana. Yenye sika.
Sika be na onyaye. Sika be na onyaye.
Sika bi amba.
Onya sika no say. You look at your expenditure. Abra, you catch yourself when there was a lockdown. Now economic activities in your country has been halted. What's when sika? Sika no di ko ede.
No, I should be asking you,
yes, and no, but and now went into the whole of the budget deficit that the COVID-related expenditure is accounting for. You were not productive at the time. You spent more than your production because of the COVID. So when you spent over 17.7 billion, about 4.6% of your GDP in fighting COVID, at that time, you were handicapped. You were not doing anything. And no matter the global trend, the global analysis all over the world. And the giant of America, inflation could do 7.9. And then for we were America, for we were UK, the way I almost see came war. We see COVID in Yashri. A typical example. Countries you can easily point to. Go there and check the impact of COVID. So I say, look, the world or global supply chain, I'm into logistics. The cost of shipping one 40-footer container from China, which was a major source of supply into this country, was about $4,000. In 2020, 2021, it went to $14,000. What's the COVID in here? So the moment Obiatumia Fanyama raw material from $4,000 shipment cost alone to this country, it has changed the price of the commodity. So think about it. A changing completely that you cannot do anything about it. It has changed. And then crude oil, I thought they will say, and then crude oil, it went as much as $130 per barrel. So you produce crude oil here? No. We are net importers of crude oil. And there's a way import to crude oil at the rate of what account for inflation? You can't inflation. Inflation is the higher demand for foreign goods. Into another currency to go and buy. It affects the demand for your and demand and the supply of your local currency. So when all this and ufa crude oil alone, say Ghana EPCD, asisa akwa koto crude abakrom ha, you need more cedis to buy few dollars. And these are global trends. So the moment petroleum prices ebe kosro, now we share other countries all over the world. Me home baby price per liter of a gasoline or petrol has reduced. Average price about $2.5 per liter. In all advanced countries today, it is because of the challenge of COVID. And then Russia, Ukraine, when we see it has no bearing. Between Russia and Ukraine, they supply about 60% of grain, wheat, fertilizer, iron to the world, and then natural gas that powers industry all over. It's been affected. And to Russia, baby, are free as a mine, Ghana. All the indicators are until COVID broke, we have restored them into a proper position than the NDC. NDC wo abemo before ye ba abemo no. Boko ji bosia wo bank, se wo di ba be ye adwuma wo man mo. Insi ho ana esi ho. That was about 32%. In this country, interest rate. Nanando ba ye before COVID, boko ji bosia a wo di ba be ye adwuma from the same system, it was 22%. That was interest rate in this country. To the private sector and nothing driving people to go into one district, one factory. Okay. And now we know 106 companies are operational under the policy of one F. 148 are at different stages of completion. So yes, it is true the economic situation has been altered by these two global world disorder. But COVID,
a slide.
But in the face of all this,
quick one now. I feel we won't say achievement. No, not as a doors in the presentation. Dr. Baumia, what we've done. We've been able to do this. Way. This is a platform. On how we are coming out of the woods. I don't know if you understand what
he's shown it clearly, and I'll come to that. You see. People need to know baby a fever. And also and how to get out of this. Clearly. No two ways about that. Look, Usha baby fever. What did to before COVID?
Yes.
Achievement ayanyano. NDC don't come close. They should accept that. We were in a messy situation without COVID. Yatumia pejemu with all the indicators. Your debt, your physical deficit. You better yatumia ye wajuma better than the NDC. Yatumi di emraba. Say yatumi discipline as a country. The president was committed to it. Interest rate, inflationary rate, exchange rate, everything was better than the NDC. Until say ye nyasa problem of COVID. And a bit distorted. But the Juma who do I ye? My look. Usha data number 6 Dr. Bamiadi Baye. Uko ne yinum. Programs are ahudwa yediaba and associated cost. But for the 3 items of banking sector cleanup, pay or take, and then a COVID, a buyer, a be higher advocacy. Look at programs are free SHS. Expenditure releases 2017 to 2021 in billions. That is in page 30. We share one district, one free SHS was accounting for 5.3 billion cedis. So far, releases are here. We share one district, one factory. It's about 0.472 billion. We share planting for food and jobs, 2.95 billion. We share development authorities, that is IPEP, programs are here, 1.9. What can in Abuma? It's about 15.62 billion. It doesn't, it's just about half of Amuna. Oh, please stop this. Amuna NDC for two. With the pay or take, the banking sector clean up our more supervisory, the collapse of our banking sector, yes, our intervention, and the COVID.
Slide.
So, we share the architecture of Ghanaian economy. These 3 items, a Ghana economy.
Okay.
Now, we share improvement. Look, you made the point, say, everywhere in the world, Obia share how to look within.
Yeah.
Dr. Kanye, we insist, say, we need to improve production in this country. We need to improve production in this country to limit excess importation of goods and services. Oh dear, give him a little time. Stop what you are doing. You will come. You will get the opportunity.
Because on the economy, there is no issues. So.
You have issues. You have the time.
I'll get to you. I'll get to you.
Well, so we share baby I free, baby I juma kudru. Not these 2 major things. Abba, we all accept. President had said it. The vice president has said it. Every member of government has said it. Say, you will challenge, but we know how to get out of the woods. Say you pobi. No bet say you will challenge. No feel say or your solution the record. When we didn't have this challenge.
Okay. Medasi. Honorable Medasi. Yes.
But let me react to first of all.
Quickly, enough the digitalization.
As if him say, and your man, and I'm glad say he picked it directly from Dr. Bawumia's speech. Nini na yemfutro. Nukure ba ko kura ni.
Emudi ehna enya nukure no.
Say minua iti hai. Wa blame nipa enyoma nan. Eche say enu enti ena Ghana yesika sem atete apansan. DT kan was say excess capacity charge. Was it pay or take?
Yes.
Pay or take.
Yeah.
The tosumienu financial sector payment.
Clean up,
which is 25 billion. The toso miensa COVID and the issues around COVID. And at the toso 9 was also kind. And all this no or peki free Dr. Bawumia.
You are discussing the lecture.
Yes. The Russia war. I mean, you can free pay or take. Excess capacity charges. So we are on penia be diachra. Aya na enwoma bi wo hwa yesusu say oba kan kura kira manfo. Because say enkontompo bi ni mfuturo bi no. To be honest with you, it is beneath the office of the vice president. Omampani abadi actually say 17.7 billion was paid as excess capacity charge. I'm glad to say, meanwhile, Honorable Member of Parliament. I want to refer to parliamentary records. Alhaji Suhini, Tamale North, NDC MP, Ebusa Finance Minister. One na ye payment here on my penny abedi now per the records say to ask the Minister of Finance which independent power producing companies have received payment from the government of Ghana for excess capacity charges and how much was paid each company. And
a response no
but I will share it with you. Mr. Speaker, that is the Minister for Finance.
So you give the date of the question.
No, I will give. The date is already in the response. It is in the response.
So the date of the question is important.
Oh, don't worry.
The date of the question is important.
It's important. Yeah.
Okay, I'll come to that. I'll give you the date, Biba. The most important.
What is
important is not the date the question was asked, but the period within which the debt was paid.
No, if the question was asked,
no, let's get the response. But the finance minister response, no.
To that question. Mr. Speaker, the underlisted independent power producers have received payments for excess capacity charges for the period under review between 2017 and 2013. Totaling
between 2017
and 2013.
2010.
Sorry, 2017 and 2020. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. 2017 and 2020, 4-year period. Totaling $937.5 million.
Yes. Almost 1 billion. Almost a billion.
Now, let us even use the rate of 2020, which is about 5. Let's forget about 2017. Let's use it. That brings it to about 5 billion. That brings it to about 5 billion. So on the where is the 17.7 billion coming from?
Cedis.
Exactly. Now, when you
just do it.
Yes, the dollar. And you said the rate at that time.
1 billion.
The rate in 2020 was about $5.
So what's your argument?
The point I'm trying to make is that
what's your point?
That means that between that 4-year period, the excess capacity was about 5 billion Ghana cedis.
Hey, $1 billion? $1 billion?
Yes.
Almost $1 billion is 5 billion. Are you serious?
I'm using.
Don't confuse yourself. Don't confuse
I'm not
yourself.
confusing myself. Listen, he knows what I'm talking about. He's refusing to accept what
are you talking about?
First of all these debts and what have you that we are talking about, the loans as at the years they pick them, when they are adding the debt stock to a year, they look at what the interest rate was. They make out to say.
Me too.
No, don't forget.
Yeah.
Look at what
it's confused.
I'm not confused.
Who converted 900 and almost 1 billion.
1 billion,
yes.
Right?
Almost
$1 billion.
How much? Even a rate now is 7.7. How much is it now?
Okay. I'm Pedumunya calculation.
No. The point is, you should narrate to cry 7.8 billion. If you use today's rate.
You see, he's getting. I asked an important. Okay, you finish. I'll come to that.
Very good. The problem is that where is the 17.7 billion coming from? Because now I have showed say excess capacity.
I asked you when the question was asked and when the answers were provided.
When the answer provided gave a range of which the money was paid.
No, but when was the question on the floor?
It doesn't matter when the question was asked. What is important is that from 2017 all the way to 2020, we are in 2022, first quarter.
Yes.
From 2017, for 4-year period, out of the 5-year period, they are saying you 17.7.
No, but one thing they say, what is important here? And they say, IPP, I mean, power producers, almost like your chest can that's very important to establish.
Yes.
But also
Matthias, what is driving this cost? The problem is that ECG is running at a loss of about 30%. Power woman EGN, Neton, Etosini. That is the fact. Number two, you remember in 2018, a buyer can say, what electricity so? Okay. What it electricity so?
Yeah.
At that time, the IPPs, you know, they did not, their cost of production had not changed. Therefore, that reduction had nothing to do with them, and therefore, their cost of selling to ECG remained the same. So if you took a populist stand and say, what it is,
IPP for the inform. Okay, I understand.
When you put this together, plus the losses from ECG, and then the excess capacity, that is what is coming up to the 17.7.
I'm
coming. Four issues. I want to address the 4 issues.
But main way,
So now let's look at the financial.
So it's agreed to the 17 billion.
The 17 billion is not coming from the
IPP.
The excess capacity.
Excess capacity 1 billion. 8.5 billion. That's about 8.5 billion
or say pay or take contract, yes, I am why no now for problems.
Of course.
Therefore, I have to explain.
$1 billion.
Let me also go to the financial sector payment. Financial sector cleanup. In fact, I have picked a range. We could have saved this bank, and I'll use a range with between 5 to 9 billion.
What you gave out, did you supervise it? It land people in court.
Between 5 to 9 billion.
Okay, let me solve
based on what?
These are experts in the field who are speaking. And the reason why I wanted to be within the frame of accuracy in this matter, no? That's why I picked between 5 because ABC 5 billion, ABC 9 billion, ABC 6 billion. So I said between 5 to 6 billion. Now, because of your populist stand, any vindictiveness, you collapse the banks with an amount of 25 billion Ghana cedis. And then you go around and say you pay 25 billion Ghana cedis depositors. I say, oh, I buy no crack bank, and they say, why are you? And you stood on a campaign platform and say, they should vote for you because you've paid depositors. Then you are running away from it to say you want to blame a friend, say somebody else.
No, I'm the host. I need to. They don't want to take the blame. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. The point is that even the collapse of the financial sector brought its own, by estimation, about 57,000 jobs. In fact, the government was saying, COVID-related job losses was about 40,000. Financial sector crisis, alone brought about 57,000 jobs were lost. So the cost that they are talking about, cost, 25 billion. I disagree. I disagree with that cost. That is the cost of paying depositors. People who have lost their jobs and are unemployed. We haven't looked at that. We haven't factored that in. And all this could have been saved with just merely rescuing these banks. If people have actually have been involved, I don't understand. People have been involved in one or two things. A
quick rebuttal to this. A quick rebuttal. In 1 second. In 1 minute. In 1 minute, please. You are done.
No, digitalization.
To be honest with you, say the cost of banking sector cleanup, it's more because people have lost their jobs. 4.6 million depositors, right? In this country, you are talking of 57,000 people who have lost direct jobs. But these 46 million depositors are companies that if you should quantify the number of employees, even their individuals, is 4.6 million. Do you equate 57,000 to 4.6? No, please. You didn't say so. Okay. But let me also, when you are doing the analysis.
You see, in addition to that.
When you are doing analysis.
In addition to that.
Saving 57,000 people who are working with the banks and saving 4.6 million people. Which one do you take?
No, but,
in any case,
Slice, how can I say you seem to be downplaying Omar?
Exactly.
I'm not. No. I am not.
One year pay price.
Okay.
If someone is watching right now on TV.
Yes.
Don't go there. I'm saying that if you're a manager, you have to take a decision. 4.6 million people
against 57,000.
If a group should die, which group would you kill? You.
Nobody would die.
No, please. If 4.6 million people you are driving and a group must die, you have 4.6 million people staring you in the face to kill them, and you have 57,000. Which way would you go? Regrettably, if one person has even lost his job, it's not something about any budget. You can easily recruit 57 back than recruiting 4.6 million people back. In any case, I'll see, put the 9 billion, bet me, I resuscitated banks now. But you see, the depositors' amount of money in the banks that they don't have, apart from the monies that are lost that the banks don't have, yet will be thrown check. Ni seka odi akoto bank no ini ho. Who is Asikanoma bank no? So far Omoka, the same group of management board and the rest. Otua Omoka we are they are not the better running our bank no. So when you take their route, it is more. And the NDC attempted to do this in 2014. Omudi Sika Mankrofo to attempt to revive the bank.
Slide patrol.
So please,
digitalization.
Banking sector.
Please, me patrol.
Because they created the money withdrawals.
Set a date.
This is
the report, the audited report of each of the banks.
I think we will make time for that.
We should make time for that.
But Yambra failed. Digitalization. So man panyama de chebu bo niema bebre so. What listed niema bebre addressing the issues of a unique identity, property address system, promoting financial inclusion or mobile money interoperability.
Mobile money interoperability no.
Okay.
What was the 70-something.5 billion?
Okay, so your take nothing. You drew on my figure no. Okay, on to me figure no. Okay. I'll say in 2016, mobile money transactions gave us a revenue of 78.5 billion. In 2021, with the introduction of the mobile money interoperability, we made 978.3 billion. But so those are the figures. 978.3.
34.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, Griffith, my interview.
Okay, the other kind. Say, Adia me de be yem fato ho. Amma Ghana for atiase pie. And he said, MPP aban we know ho. Wasi dan awie. Aye interior decorations ni bibia awie. Na akasa obe penti. Tie de me kan
Me too.
Ne wafira ban mu. Na oba be penti a. Otimi kura have the audacity to say wo anye who. Let me tell you, without fear of a say, the digitization drive.
86.
The digitization drive of this country. Say the MPP aban esiha, near the NDC aban esiha. They don't even deserve 10% credit, despite a vice president. What they are turning as I say, or digitalization. Why am I saying this? First of all, the main foundation, the infrastructure that will enable this, to drive, to work, the backbone of digitalization is the infrastructure. You remember my first appearance on this show on this matter? I told you, say, telecoms are here and they are spreading their network, right? But it's a telecom company, a percent or the infrastructure, echo and crime. Or shasa and crime population millions. A cratchy for bebre, a walk and crime. A school for bebre, a one crime. Entino, medecoa. Actually, so here by and fear me, no fear me, and Santa Matemaka. I have been fast. That is the mindset of a business person. Profit. Government has that responsibility, sir. Eye oban so asade ani sir. Businessman na ordering and kind. Tema, Kumase, Mampong, Aguna, Ehono. Sir businessman no. Yabeto infrastructure no so. Amako free. Da buy mantwem se, Kofi ase. So. Chemfa, nomni ramwasin enkurase ni nyina. No amoso ayeden. Etimi afa on phone. No amoso so engage in economic activities. Let me place on record, say, under the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama, we built the fiber backbone, the rural fiber backbone, which was 1,000 kilometers, started from Accra, Volta region, Oti, northern, northeast, and it could see Boko. So that once we have spent that, make us say, yet to form any physical cable, all that what you. So that where the telcos don't feel there is enough revenue to invest, they can plug it in. Even in Greater Accra, the Metro Fiber Network, 300 kilometers, we built it. They haven't had even 1 kilometer of fiber. The infrastructure that drives this digital economy, not even 1 kilometer of fiber has been added to it by the MPP administration. When you are dealing with applications where developers sit down and just code and place it on servers that exist at NITA data center, which we built 600 rack space. And you see here, it's a 3-tier, the biggest 3-tier friends data center in West Africa. We built it, and we built the disaster recovery at KNUST. The standards say it should be about 50 miles away, apart. So we chose KNUST to build a disaster recovery. 4G by the first 4G network that was built was the Gota. And we built 119 base stations across the country to allow G2G. Say, one more can say, and passport applications, anyone why friend say, Register General, where are they running? What infrastructure are they running on? Those are just simple applications which even existed, but they have been enhanced. And I like to give credit where credit is due. But where are they running? Which data centers are they placing those servers and applications? It is data centers built by John Dramani Mahama. Data is critical, I agree. And therefore, it must be preserved. Nasa wo say, me buy my baba look at the interoperability and he's saying, you see, sometimes it is difficult for me to even react to some of the things the vice president says. To be honest with you, with my level of understanding, at least little understanding in technology, and how off he gets with his, excuse me to say, so-called digitization drive or no drive. Wow, how off he gets. Remember, he said the interoperability, has caused the movement of 70 transactions of 78.5 billion to 978. I'm not even going to talk about technology. Meaning, transactions that are across platforms and therefore will benefit from interoperability. Yeah. They are less than 7%. So how is that a driver?
How is that the driver?
But look at the figures. 2016.
It doesn't mean.
And look at 2021.
See, when something happens, you need to find out how that thing actually happened. When there is a movement from 78 to 978,
yes.
Forget about the percentage of 7%. Who you see MTM? Nase oh Senisika. How many times do you encounter Senisika to Tigo? Tigo? It is the sending SCA across different platforms. No? And when they benefited from interoperability. So it tells you the percentage of transactions.
No, but
and therefore it can never be the driving factor for this.
The least you can do is to give credit to this government. Looking at the figures, before the introduction of interoperability,
they have
2016 and 2021.
It is not. That is what I'm saying. Say it has nothing to do with the interoperability that was a friend. If there was some interoperability, it has been made more seamless, as a friend said.
Yes. It's a credit, you know, I mean.
And it is not. The point I'm trying to make is that transactions that occur and benefit from the interoperability framework, they are less than 7%. That is the point I'm making.
Less than 7% in Nippon, am I?
Alaji doctor, a friend say, a digital man Baumia, and all claim. It is a claim by the vice president. Let us not treat it as if it is a gospel. It is not. In fact, building a fiber backbone.
That is the gospel, right?
Yes.
That is the gospel. But when the vice president says that,
I am not saying that this is the gospel. Let me finish. I want to flow in a certain. If you
no, but flow not say
Matthias.
Yes.
But you see, let me tell you this. Obi or no building infrastructure, Emma, wider people could access the person who expanded access. The person who expanded access to the whole country. Rural folks who would otherwise not have had access. If you want to find the phone, and to connect it to your friends Instagram, want to find the phone, and to connect it to Facebook, want to find the phone, and to connect it. Want to and certain transactions could not have happened. No, that person anywhere. Or say you have created a platform that allows MTN to send money to Tigo. Who should take credit for the volume of transactions that take place on it? Okay. I mean, we need to be serious. We need to be serious in this country.
Okay.
Sorry, me
we have less than 10 minutes to wrap up.
Please, you had your time. Enough. You've spoken more than 15 minutes.
The identity management here critical.
No, please.
Very small. 1 minute.
It's done. It's done. 1
minute.
1 minute. 1 minute to do what?
Let me tell you this.
1 minute to do what?
The NIA, the National Identification System, that system that issued the first Ghana card to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, on the 15th of September 2017. I want to place on record here and now, say, NPP did not add even a pen drive to that system.
No, but the NIA was started by former President Kufuor and
yes.
In 8 years.
This is what I'm telling you, sir. When we inherited the system,
yes,
the issue that arose, in say, President Kufuor had a brilliant concept. He wanted Ghana to have an integrated system and a multi-functional card. Nature say instead say NHI for card bako, DVLA card, where one card, where yamfa card bako pemfanya juma. Na say wo maniska because in your maniska na editor. And one biometric system, security implications, financial implications. And if it's on the average, about $60 million. But the issue is that the system was a bit problematic in a sense, say. Those times no more creative system no. They took only 4 fingers.
Okay.
Data needs.
1 minute.
Data needs. Until we build the system.
Please.
We build the system.
Now you see, Minia, you are an IT person. Oh, Kasano, me IT person. So my take was that I can be TSUM. But you end up confusing yourself and confusing me. You see, the jealousy of the NDC.
Jealousy.
The jealousy of the NDC. Yeah, Dr. Bamia, Okasa, no. Did he talk about the fact that MPP are building fiber optic? Did he say so? But I can't tell me in his 129 page. You came here.
Any speech in it?
One can it you attacking Dr. Bamia said fiber optic will build infrastructure. Has he attacked you say anyone? So the matter for discussion is about how we've improved and use IT to improve services.
Yeah.
Also, go kwapai. Jealousy. Say jealousy. Papa Kasai, one casa one build a fiber optic from a hacker.
Politicians.
No, but politicians. They are
technical in politics.
We are talking about revenue and interoperability. They are mine.
It's one
And then you have to take us far back as
interoperability.
You see, he's just been exposed at his last comment about a friend is ID cards na the idea. President say anka mo buy mo 8 years mo see the President Kufo structure or the go NIA problem on 8 years want to answer.
He did very well.
Please, so for 8 years,
he did very well.
Yesterday, 3 days ago, Dr. Bawumia never attacked the source of who built fiber optic infrastructure in the country. They all can say how IT has improved revenue generation in our country. I know they won't come once more. But you are going about John Mahama 16 years ago, who built fiber optic. Was that in contention? I don't know, I can debate no. I know nobody is debating it. And I don't know who accept that Oyenka, who say wonka, na John Mahama, say John Mahama what table is. I
think you missed my point.
I didn't miss it.
You missed it.
Yeah, call you.
I'm saying that
what building infrastructure? What building infrastructure? Sebi. Utoka na wakata so si ufie. Na wa amfa wo mangu manku school a emfa so be na de ma. Ena nipa ne ka say sa ka ye sie ya me betu ye. Matumi di ka ya fa nipa be 1000 within the month akọ aba. Sika manya wo mu nie. Wo si jai na wo nya hwe na me na me talk ka no. Na ye can the talk ka.
Okay.
So make us some show here. This mobile money interoperability. And this ye buy. Say nya nyame. Ene di Ghana for one fofi. No di na Akufo Addo buy ya. Same functions I can want me. And this we're going to procure services for $1.2 billion. Nyami, ene di ye one fofi. Ene MPP buy. Ye no $4.5 million. Over $1 billion would have gone waste. Akokot. Ye bu assembly tia.
The scope is not the same.
The
scope is different.
Now, I didn't want court and answer scope different. The same thing you were changing, that what you did was right. Akwako do court, ye bu etia wo. Enye nyami eni di ye wan fofia. Akomai additional debt $1 billion. Ekoka IPP $1 billion. Ekoka dia kan ene by this a minute. E dan nyami ase. The ye kan nyina no. We were not attacking who built fiber optic. Ye kan systems I dia go akwemu a reduce corruption. We call passport office, we call tema habo, we call birth and death. Sabing, one building system no. Now why improve it? Now our services are. So for me, you better discuss issues are benefiting Ghana. I still believe, sir, we can deploy more IT services. Said you better ene. Say me pebibi won cry. Na me Koforidia. I need not to come to Accra. The ordinary person in Koforidia does not know what fiber optic is. All he knows is say me ti Koforidia. Manya digital address system. Manya mi house address system. Mi national service certificate bar. Me in fact 150 Ghana cedi from Koforidia to Accra. Now so me fee me digital address me the shame one you better deliver
with a simple application.
With a simple application.
No, and
that is a services.
And I'm saying be so say kwame say near vice president bobo so no. As in the economic transformation digitalization in Edia Brewer man.
Yes.
Do you agree? Ne ekoso DVLA, ekoso port, GRA. I mean, obone man bebre so. True or false?
The government payment platform. See, I am not disputing, sir.
So why are you going
These
back?
things are the future. In fact, let me make this.
You agree that
it is
brought some economic transformation.
It is in foot no Diego. To say has a page here say
Ghana card project initiated by President, but practically abandoned.
That's more abandoned.
For 8 years. Meanwhile, 8 years, no system no.
8 years, more than
system no. Factory acceptance test of the system was done in 2016 December.
8 years.
I led the technical team to go and do that.
8 years. Who issue one card? 8 years. Have you issued one card?
System and it's taking years to build.
8 years. 8 years, I wouldn't build this system.
So
8 years, I wouldn't build this system.
Then you go and tell people, say, I know the access. I call rural a year more. 8 years. You don't give him credit for the volume of transaction.
He was there to give credit. He's telling you what he's done. No, expecting you to come and give you credit for what?
Cross-platform.
Stella Ujina, fiber optic, no.
I'm just trying to tell you.
In 5 years, the NPP government has been in power.
Yes.
With all this digitalization, Vice President, why you?
And also,
economic transformation be about man.
What I'm telling you is that.
I mean, it's a simple question I'm asking you.
Is the NPP government cannot even take credit, 10% credit for what has happened in the digitalization of this economy. They cannot.
Jealousy.
Because it is not.
Jealousy.
It's you. I say, what about no BSc dance you? That will be say, me and me penti dano. Me na my provider.
Now, accommodation. You see, they have their own questions and they're answering.
You see,
the NDC has their own set of questions.
It is false. It is not cross-platform applications that drives up volumes in transactions. It is access. And the access were provided by John Dramani Mahama. That is the point I'm making.
Aside Kwame Griffiths, Director in charge of IT for the NDC, Honorable Sylvester Tete, a member of Parliament, Botiano English, a man from, and I feel Dr. Edu Owusu accordion so be kind of phone so well. Discussion now, but you fancy higher. Sorry. Now for the tactical board, Eddie Free Insura 104.5 FM. Yeah, the Abro Ayala and Abijafono standing by. My production team I say Kofi Ampedu Welbeck. That's in Nana Asante, Priscilla, ne camera, MCR, Rubia. We need the Chief Jerry Force and Yami Aduma Nnawotwe Yi. Yo, that's it.
Abusia, me di the Reverend Kwame na Aida. Me gidi say, ye jumedini na weni jiho. Ye videos, ye talk shows, ni jumedini na. Na di ye me pane se sene ebe ya wasabaka ye jumedini 24/7. Wo bell no, wo de ponche so. Sa bell no, ponche so. Ponche so biu. Na sa ponche so biu. O ponche so 24/7 jumedini na. E shasia kikro na wonsaka and follow us and share the page. For commenting now so to no nyame shira